Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain? You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what? Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
In a few moments, you will pass through these doors and join your classmates.
Keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change.
Good afternoon, class. Welcome to your first flying lesson. Stick your right hand over the broom and say up.
Wow.
Mr. Longbottom! Mr. Longbottom! Mr. Longbottom, exactly where do you think you're going?
Do you really have the scar? Wicked.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. First years should note that the Dark Forest is strictly forbidden, that no magics to be used between the classes and the corridors.
Petrificus totalis.
The third floor corridor is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to suffer a most painful death.
Throw in the dungeon! Understand this, Harry, because it's very important. Not all wizards are good.
I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed. Or worse, expelled.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
I think it is clear that we can expect great things from you.
One year ago, he learned the truth.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And his first year at Hogwarts School became legend. And so, for Harry Potter and his friends, another year begins.
Bloody bird's a menace.
Their education in the magical arts continues.
Pixies.
Laugh if you will, Mr. Finnegan. See what you make of them. No!
Old rivalries grow stronger.
Slytherin's got a new seeker.
Malfoy.
You'll never catch me, Potter!
And something in the school's dark past will be awakened.
The Chamber of Secrets has indeed been opened.
Unless the culprit is caught, it is likely the school will be closed.
Harry Potter must go home.
Oh dear, we are in trouble.
Here's the plan. You disguise yourselves as Crabbe and Goyle.
Are we going to drink that?
Yes.
Harry? Ron. Excellent.
This year,
Harry!
Warner Brothers Pictures presents
How dare you steal that car!
the next chapter of Harry Potter, where the past will return and the struggle for the future of Hogwarts will begin. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Let us hope that Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day. Don't worry. I will be.
Turn to page 394.
Hey guys, why the long faces?
Who is that? That man?
He's a murderer. Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban prison.
wears black. He's the reason the Potters are dead.
And now he wants to finish what he started.
I want you to swear to me you won't go looking for black.
Why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
There's something moving out there.
It was a Dementor, one of the guards of Azkaban, searching the train for Sirius Black.
It is not in the nature of a Dementor to be forgiving.
I hope he finds me. Because when he does, I'm going to be ready. You must look beyond.
Filthy little mudblood.
Foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach! Oh, that felt good.
Expecto Patronum!
Yo. Hello. I think I'm back. He's back. What am I doing today? I guess so a couple things. What you see on the screen is GoDot. It's a new, essentially it's a new way to interface with MPF for your visuals for screen, for the audio, animations, widgets, all that stuff. And it's very convenient to have a UI that you can actually use and visualize things and visualize animations and stuff like that as you're building it. So I really like that part about it. And yeah, so I've been working in that a little bit, and I got my attract mode built out, so just kind of got my feet wet in using the editor here. Rod, well. What's going on, man? How you doing? Hope you're staying nice and cool. Hopefully it's not too hot where you're at. It's starting to warm up here. Oh, it is your favorite little guy. Yeah, doing stuff. So, yeah. So I'm gonna do some work in Godot here, but I think before I do that, I wanna maybe do some more Playfield assembly and show where that's at. You're in Seattle. Man, that's quite a ways away from where you were. And it's gonna be nothing but rain and wind. Get used to it. You could always move to Michigan, where there's like 1,000 seasons in a month. That's fun. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do... Oh, I didn't really check these other scenes to see if the camera works and the audio seems to work. I don't even have Fusion open. Man, I'm really slacking on my prep for this. So, yeah. There's the Playfield, upside down. We'll flip it right side up and show where that's at, I suppose. And then maybe start bolting on some other stuff. I don't want to screw on too much of the mechs until I get I have another order from Send Send that's showing up in the next couple days here, and I designed some things to reinforce the playfield. Let me open up Fusion. Let's see if the PC can handle this multitasking. Should be able to. And while that's opening, I'll go flip over the playfield. There's stuff underneath it too. Eventually this will be a functional work area. There we go. There's a full pivot. Okay. And put my safety clamp on here too. That way it doesn't decide to swing on its own. And of course, Fusion opened up in the other screen. Oh, let's drop ramp base recovery. I don't think I need that. I don't want to update. And let's full screen it. And then open up the file. Now while that's opening, we can go back and look at the playfield. And I'll put this on phone cam. Okay, what are my audio sources? Okay. Got the shotgun, SM58. Okay. Make sure I'm on Wi-Fi. Pay no attention to my mess here. And of course, this is coming loose. Just a hot mess. There we go. Tighten that screw. There we go. So, where are we? We're pretty good shape. So I guess start on the lower third here. See, I've got all the inlane guides in place. Some of the one-way gates are in place. All the targets are in. All the posts are in. Rubbers are on the slings, but I don't have the sling mechs installed yet. And then over here, you got the wand targets. And Hagrid's hut area right back in behind there. There's the shooter lane, kind of half ramp, with some skill shot options. So you'll be able to plunge it up here, and you can plunge it partially without hitting that switch and do some flipper, upper flipper combo skill shots. You can also get it to dribble off here into this, and you can get it to dribble in here and trigger this switch, which is a little bit tougher. And hopefully the audio and everything's alright, but I trust you all let me know if it isn't. You got the pops area up here, what we call the dungeon and potions class, and there's a sling right here as well. You've got a shot for extra ball that goes straight through it into just a subway entrance there, not a buck or anything. Then you've got the courtyard with this kind of center turnaround here. You've got the center ramp with, this took some conjiggering, get that to work right. But that's a gate that'll divert the ball off to the Quidditch playfield. or it'll let a ball pass through and out a wire form right here. Shut up, Alexa. Stop it. Hello from the Netherlands. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. And then we got, so I've got the Newton in there, the inline drops, aka Denisi lock. We've got the Hogsmeade shot there. Then on the right side here, we got all of the metal in as well. All the ball guides are in, all the targets are in. So it's starting to look like a pinball machine. And I got a ton more stuff to assemble on this. But yeah, it's definitely starting to shape up. It's 10 p.m. where you're at. It is 3:40 p.m. where I am. So yes, all the targets are in. All the metal's bent and in place. I got a little spot off there, if I recall. The whole drop ramp assembly that goes over top of all of this, I had to redesign that already for the third time, but this should be the last time, and I think it's going to be much better. I can review that on the CAD file here as well. But yeah, starting to look like a pinball machine. Exciting stuff. As far as stuff that I still have to put on it, you got the auto launchers on both left and right side. You gotta do the slings. I gotta do the VUX, the drop targets, the projector assembly, the whole sorting hat mech, which that is assembled right here. At least the lower part of it is. The top part attaches with the drop ramp assembly. But I can show functionality of this here. Step back into my office. Alright. So this assembly is, if you look on the underside here, got a series of thrust bearings that supports this whole upper base. There's an opto for homing right there. You got a stepper here that turns the whole upper portion. And this sits on the Playfield. And then this can rotate into place and connect. It can connect how many ramps? I'm trying to remember. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outputs, 6 outputs. It's a lot of combinations. And then on top of that, this whole wall is on a spring-loaded hinge. So I can alter the path another way to connect 2 other ramps I wanted to connect. So that should work decent. But yeah, this came together nice. Excited about that. So let's see. I think this file is up to date with the latest drop ramp assembly. Let me hide the sculpts here. Very slow. Let's hide the Quidditch assembly as well. Okay. So this is the new drop ramp assembly here. Initially, the original one you would shoot this drop ramp right here, and it would come up and it would take a tight turn and then go up an incline across here. And I found that that tight turn was slowing the ball down too much and it couldn't make it up the incline. So the hope here is that I put more of a gradual turn. It goes back in behind the center ramp, and then up more of a gradual slope to meet the sorting hat area. So that should flow better. It also allowed me on the Hogwarts upper playfield here. There's like a looping orbit shot. It allowed me to make that better, so it's not like going up a half ramp and then dropping into the drop ramp to do the loop. Now it's all on the same level, and that comes back down this wire form here and feeds out to your flipper again. So you can do successive loops there. You got the 3 drop target, or the 3 stand-up targets. Let me hide the wire forms as well. You got the 3 stand-up targets there. You got the horizontal spinner that I engineered here. And then this changed as well. So this was initially there was a coil there that I was going to use as a magnet to hold the ball behind the horizontal spinner. And I was using the core of that magnet as kind of my pivot point for this whole arm here that Peeves is on. That wasn't working out the best, so instead I got rid of the magnet and the coil, and it's now a DC motor that attaches to that arm. And then you've got Peeves that sits on an upside down Newton ball, and he'll probably be on a spring on top of that as well. And then he swings out to block your shots on the upper playfield. And then while I was doing that, I also, on the backside, engineered the limit switches for the rotation on that, which is just a pair of optos. So yeah, this turned out much better with the revision for both the drop ramp and the Hogwarts upper playfield. And then the drop ramp is going to shoot cleaner, and hopefully won't have issues making it around to the sorting hat. Hopefully. While I was also messing with the drop ramp, I changed the shape of this left path over here a little bit, just so it doesn't interfere with the Quidditch playfield. It was a little bit too close to the switches on the Quidditch playfield that sets the home position for the floating playfield. So just shifted that a little bit on the design there, so it'll go together a lot better. And then redesigned a lot of the walls for that whole drop ramp thing as well, and put in this right side over here, and that should help up the ramp shot be a little bit cleaner. And yeah, so yeah, the stuff I'm waiting for from Send Cut Send is all the remakes of that stuff. And that should hopefully be the last time I remake it. But yeah. One of the other things, so on this left side here, because I'm using these long-range burst optos to sense across the mag rail system, my side rails can't go continuously across, so there's kind of a weak point right here. So I just engineered kind of a brace or a bracket that connects the side rails, and should give some good stability there, because last thing I want is the Playfield bowing where the mag rail is, and that becoming a weak point. So that should help make that a lot stronger. Yeah. And then I started kind of assembling the whole mag rail thing. So let me hide those. So yeah, I was kind of starting to assemble this, at least get it put together. I didn't mount the linear rails on it yet, but this is the one bracket on the end with some 3D printed housings on there and switch mounts. So that was kind of one thing I was thinking maybe I could do today is actually get the whole mag rail thing assembled just without the belt. Trying to think if there's anything preventing me from doing that, or like attaching the belt after the fact, if that's going to be a problem. Guess I can always disassemble the stepper part after the fact if I need to. So yeah, I kind of was thinking I'd build the whole mag rail assembly and then attach that to the Playfield, because that should also give some structural support to that whole center area of the Playfield with those brackets. So let's see. Mag rail, let's open that. So we're just looking at that assembly. There we go. Let's hide the data panel. And then start figuring out what I need to do to assemble this. So it looks like this whole rail over here isn't attached to either of my end brackets. So I should be able to get that assembled. Figure out what screws these were. 91292A113. Not that. Those are probably... Yep, okay. So those are the nuts and the bolts. So I can get the linear rail put together for the one side here. I just need to pay attention to how many holes are between each of the brackets. And that one uses just 3 of my normal looking brackets. Let me grab some of those. And the linear rail. And scissors. Scissors. They're trash scissors, but they work for my needs. So there's our linear rail, and that is going to attach pretty much like that. Let me make sure everything, it's how many holes in between? 2 holes between. So roughly like that. And then I'm not going to put all these screws in. Just enough to get each bracket in place first. I need my lock nuts for M3. Okay, just making sure it's the right lock nut. Alright. Just get the lock nut started on these two bolts so it's held in place. I'll get everything loosely assembled before I actually tighten stuff down. Already losing nuts. And let's get this positioned a little bit better. So that's where that needs to be, and then we got two holes, and then the next one. Trying to do this by finger, but might have to actually go get nut driver and stuff, an Allen wrench. Two more screws, or bolts, not screws, well, machine screw, all the same. And then two holes and the next one. And as it looks on the screen, should be one hole hanging off the end. When did I start this project? I want to say it was like 2 years ago that I started in Visual Pinball designing like very basic shot layout just to test the geometry virtually. And then once I found a layout that felt fun to shoot and had good flow, I exported from VPX, and you can't really export any kind of CAD reference. It's just a ping image that you have to then import into Fusion 360 as a canvas, and then resketch everything, and then start figuring out where your mechs go, where the holes on the mechs are for mounting to the playfield. And that turned into a whole ordeal because there's, first of all, a lot of custom mechs that I wanted to do, so I had to design those. And then second, a lot of mechs that didn't have CAD files yet, or that needed modification for accuracy. And like, kind of what I was trying to do with this was to try to be as accurate as possible, because I knew the underside of this playfield was going to be a beast. Because the whole point of doing everything up front in CAD was so that I could make sure it all fits and meshes together. Especially with the design of this, I have a whole subway circuit underneath the playfield that does ball staging so that when you shoot the Flu network, there's another ball ready to go immediately out of one of the other Flu network shots. And the whole Flu network system is this elaborate design with a modified VUC from Pinball Life and some added on diverters that I custom designed. And that all kind of works together within MPF to stage the balls underneath the playfield all over the place so that I can call a ball up from any one of the VUCs and pretty much instantaneously make a ball move across the playfield. So you shoot a VUC on the left side, or scoop, whatever you want to call it, and it immediately comes out the right side. At least that's the goal, that's the concept. I need one of these. Hopefully, yeah. Otherwise I'd have to go get another Allen set, and I don't want to do that. And then I need, do I have a small enough nut grabber? We're just going to use a crescent wrench on these tiny little nuts. And it's a way oversized crescent wrench. Croissant. There we go. Now, the other fun part is trying to do all of this. This and see if I can tilt the camera up a little bit. Alright. Should be able to watch what I'm doing. Just had to do a double take at my CAD to make sure that I'm not assembling this offset the wrong direction. Yeah, because that should look like that. Alright. That is correct. I really need to find a smaller crescent wrench for this. But it does the job. Two years. It's insane you have designed already the whole playfield in Fusion and are assembling it now. It's so fast. Trust me, it seems a lot longer. And it probably was longer than 2 years. I won't say dragged my feet. It's just, I have a day job, so I don't always feel like continuing working after work. But it's so like rewarding to get to the point where things start to come together, stuff that I spent so much time and energy on, like designing it in CAD first, and then actually seeing it become reality is so cool. And like to the point where I'm at with assembling the playfield, this is my second playfield. My first one was a whitewood that I essentially tested the physical geometry that translated from VPX. And then on that first whitewood, I made a lot of changes to get geometry to play a little bit more nicely. There were some shots that left the game and became different because I found they were more fun to shoot. Or they weren't as fun to shoot as some of the other ideas I came up with. So that had some changes come from it to the whitewood, but once I got everything to a point that I enjoyed on the whitewood, I then began the very grueling process of measuring all the new hole locations and updating the CAD with all the new hole locations. And then you basically have to redesign everything you already designed. So like all the metal ball guides had to be redesigned because they were for the original geometry. And doing metal ball guides in Fusion isn't the most fun. But I feel like I'm a pro at it now. Okay. So there's the one rail. And I move these plugs. Not really, because there's a screw in that one. But I can move the one on the other end. And at least get the screw in there. And I should just move this plug for now to one of the other holes and get the last screw in this. Yeah, Renee, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. In my YouTube history, some of my old streams should be up there underneath past live streams category, and you can see some of my earlier development process on this. Borg dog, Borg. What's up? How's it going? Just me and Rod, and then over on YouTube we've got Renee from the Netherlands. Thanks for swinging on in. Your new shop is looking pretty sweet. Little jealous. I think that's yours. Pretty sure it's yours. Yeah. That's what I thought. What you should do is hang up a TV in the shop so you can watch me while you work on the shop. Easy. Just do that real quick. That's my thing. Like, I always have to have a TV wherever I'm working, because it's, for whatever reason, if I'm not paying attention to the TV but it's on, it somehow helps me work. But then there are times when I'm paying attention to the TV and it definitely doesn't help me work. But what's up, Andrew? I am on YouTube now, so I'm dual streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. My YouTube channel's the same Kyle Bassa name with a 1 in it, which in hindsight isn't the best idea, having numbers in a name when you tell people to search for you on YouTube and they have to remember to put a number 1 instead of an L, but whatever. Filling in the saw cuts this afternoon. Yeah, the your shiplap looks really good. It reminds me, in my basement I have the same kind of tongue and groove shiplap, except it's charred, so it's got a nice burnt effect on it. I got all of those boards for my basement from Menards. They were on clearance for like 60% off, which was insane, and I got enough to do my entire basement. Buddy is laying under the desk, so he is not in his favorite spot. Yeah, there's some hot linear rail action right there. This is what you came here for. Yeah. Alright, so that part is assembled. I can probably, let me hide that, and hide those brackets. Nope, not that one. Yep, that one. And now we can see what's left to assemble here. Okay, so on the other rail, I've got the 2 custom ends, and then one of these ones in the middle. So let's work on the other. Reminds me of a cabinet I sold a couple of years ago. It was cheaper than plywood, which was plan 1 for the walls. Dude, plywood is insanely expensive. OSB, whatever. Like, you are far better off doing drywall, unfortunately. Because like when I'm doing a barn or a shed, I think it would be so cool to do the entire walls with OSB so you can just screw anything in anywhere. But it's way too pricey. It's just cheaper to do drywall. Okay, let's get the other rail. That's the other part before I finish this. I need to remember how I engineered the whole, this side of it. But let's get the other rail with my crappy scissors. Oh yeah, they work so good. It's really rewarding to get to the point where I'm starting to assemble stuff and I can finally start clearing off all of the other surfaces in my house that have become a workbench, which is pretty much the entire house. OSB would have been a little cheaper than Tongue and Groove, but I like this better. Yeah, Tongue and Groove does look really, really nice. I'm a big fan of the way your shop's coming together with the exposed beam and everything across the ceiling. That's really sweet. Okay, so if this goes like this, and let's do the other side. Okay. That goes like that. And I got 2 holes in between. Okay, so I'm just gonna start on the end. Get the bolts in there. Yeah, I'm jealous of your barn. I think didn't you say you got a drum sander too? I was looking at those when I was going down the path of starting to do my whitewood and stuff. And I wanted a good one that could fit the full width through. and that was very expensive to get a good quality one that could fit a full 24-inch playfield through it. So I kind of went away from it. In your opinion, is GoDot MPF-GMC ready for mortals to jump into, or should I wait a while? I am a mortal, not immortal, not IMM. I am a mortal, just like you. This was my first time using the GoDot engine, or GoDot, using the GoDot engine. The instructions on MPF site are really good for it. I think it's developed enough into a good place where it functions as it should. It's just you have to figure out how to make it function. I haven't used any kind of game development engine ever before, so there's a little bit of a learning curve there. But I really like that it's got, in comparison to what the MPF-MC has, I really like the ability to visually build things. Like your slides, everything like that. And then it simplifies your MPF code a ton because you don't have to like configure your sound system and your buses and everything like that. It's all done through GMC. And then when it comes to playing audio in GMC, all of your sound system settings and everything's in that application. All you have to do is just use a sound player to trigger an event, and it calls the stuff in GMC by the name of the files, by the name of they call them scenes in GoDot. So as long as you're using the same name that you named the scene, the interface between MPF and GoDot is really convenient. And it also really simplifies your code because you're not like manually building out all of your slides and all of your widgets and trying to do all the animation settings and this and that. It's all in GoDot. So it's all in one place. I really like that it keeps your visual and audio stuff completely separate from game code. At least so far to the point where I'm at. There might be more you have to do for more advanced stuff, but it handles calling slides and everything really well. I found a few bugs with like the animations and on Windows how it was targeting, like if you set the display target according to the instructions on the MPF site, it wasn't actually correctly targeting the display for my secondary display. But I just posted in the Google groups, and within like a day or two, Anthony Van Winkle had a fix in play already. So I personally would much rather build this correctly. I would personally much rather use something for a media controller that is being actively developed, especially since my game isn't that far along code-wise to where I can do it. I would much rather do that than build very complex code and hard code in all of my slides and widgets and animations and sounds, all of that stuff. I think it's going to be a much better result. And I'm excited to show y'all like what I've been working on, what my attract mode looks like so far, the ideas that I have for just my base mode with qualification for my story modes. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today too, was build the base slide, put in some of the variables like player scores and stuff like that, and work through that portion of the guide in MPF, and do that on video so everyone can kind of see what that process is like. Of course, I'm going to fumble my way through it all, but we'll get there. Yeah, free dust collector with your 22-inch drum sander. Wow. I think your drum sander is open-ended one, right? So you can do like 44-inch wide material, or probably better to do like 42-inch wide with that 1-inch overlap. So like I was looking at the open-ended drum sanders because they're like cheaper than a closed full width 24-inch drum sander. But I had, and I've never used a drum sander before, but I had like this suspicion in my head that it would have unevenness across the sanding between passes. But you're only overlapping by like, or you're overlapping the whole thing by pretty much the whole width of the playfield with the exception of like 1 inch on each edge. So it probably wouldn't matter at all. But I psyched myself out of getting one. Also didn't feel like dumping the money on it because I've already dumped way too much money on this whole project. Probably could have bought a couple new unboxed games by now. I think I'm gonna tighten these down before I do the other brackets. Okay, double-sided works pretty good. That's good to know. So the local makerspace here in Flint, which I haven't been to and I'm not a member, but they have a open-ended drum sander there that I was at one point thinking of getting a membership just so I could use it. But what I ended up doing, instead of using a drum sander, I bought a half-sheet finish sander and spent like a good 3 hours sanding my playfield in between like different stages of clear coat and insert epoxy and all that stuff. But it paid off because the playfield and the clear coat and the artwork is just gorgeous. Like glass. But I'm hoping I don't have to make another playfield because that was such a long process. If I do end up making another playfield, I want to do direct print with the artwork because this one is a transparent automotive wrap, which works great. But if you don't have the entire thing, you don't have the entire playfield perfect. Like in my case, after I did the clear coat, all of the holes, I had to go back through with a drill bit and bore out the holes so that my bolts could fit through them, right? Or my screws could fit through them. So, the issue with that vinyl is like if you're not careful with the drill bit, it can lift the vinyl that's stuck onto the playfield. And mind you, the playfield, I had done a couple coats of clear coat before I did the vinyl so that it had a surface to bond to instead of just sanded plywood. And even so, like the bond on that adhesive isn't strong enough to withstand a drill bit lifting it up, right? So you just gotta be real careful if you have to go back and bore the holes after clear coat. I only had like one one spot where it started to kind of lift the vinyl, but it's underneath the side rail, so that doesn't matter. Additionally, whoa, where's my mouse? There it is. What was I talking about? Playfield, vinyl, lifting. Oh, additionally, in a few spots, when I was hammering in the T-nuts from the underside, because I didn't know I had to bore out the holes, in some spots the clear got like a little crack around the hole on the top side. Only in like 2 spots, and that's because the clear coat inside the hole was too small of a diameter to get the T-nut in. So as I hammered it, it cracked the clear coat just a little bit. You don't notice it. Unless you're looking really hard for it, you're never going to find it. But it should be fine for this version. But just things that I learned through that whole process with vinyl. That was my first time ever doing vinyl and my first time ever doing clear coat, so yeah. Now, if I did have to make another Playfield, I would hopefully be able to find someone that can do the direct printing. I know I had contacted like Fantastic Pinball at one point and asked a few questions, but I don't know if they were super busy with other projects. But I know some of the other guys have used Fantastic before. So if I can get in touch with them and see what that whole process is like, that would probably be the route I would go. Pricing it out through like CPR was ridiculous. And they didn't really have packages that I could find for just a Playfield that's, first of all, a custom designed Playfield. But secondly, I was just gonna ship the cut Playfield to them and wanted to have them direct print onto the Playfield that's already cut. But like their packages, I think, if I remember, all included like prices to actually CNC the Playfield and the price of the material for the Baltic birch and all that stuff. So I was looking for something where I could just like, all I want you to do is print the artwork. That's it. I'll do clear. Just, I want a cost to print the artwork. I checked all of my local shops. I know one of the other guys, I don't remember who it was, they had some luck with their local Cinerama, who had a large enough flatbed printer to do UV printing. My local Cinerama claimed they couldn't print on it, but I think it's just because it was something abnormal. They didn't really care to get involved with the process. There's also a local sign shop that was like a family-owned thing. I went to them. They didn't have a large enough flatbed. So yeah. That's what led me on the search to find somewhere that could print on transparent vinyl with a supposedly permanent adhesive. And I checked a lot of different sign shops that have transparent vinyl, but their adhesive is meant to be removable off of windows. What I wanted was the 3M, I forget the actual name of the vinyl, but I wanted the 3M car wrap with the super strong adhesive that's not supposed to peel very easily. And I found a place in Texas called Sinazon, and they were able to print. Now, I sent them my files with transparent areas. So like where my inserts are, I have text over the inserts, but it's transparent around the text. So I had my actual design file correct with those transparent areas. And I sent like a test print through them with those transparent areas with like a real small file sample. And that showed up exactly how I wanted it. So I kind of put in my mind, all right, they can do it. It'll come out the way I want it. And so I submitted my order for the whole Playfield print, and alarm bells went off at Sinazon, where I had them put like a hold on my order, and they're like, you know, this is not typical how we print transparency and this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, I had a sample print exactly the way I wanted. And they're like, well, yeah, but the machine doesn't usually do that. It's only meant to do like an outside boundary and this and that. And we can't guarantee that it's gonna print correctly. And so they made me like sign some acknowledgement that whatever the results are, I can't return the product. Which was stupid, but it worked out perfectly how I wanted. So, what if? There's the last one. Okay. Whoa! I keep letting this hit my keyboard, which may not be the best idea if I'm live streaming and it decides to like stop the stream. Fantastic seems reasonably priced, but kind of weird on business. Yeah. So like, I reached out a few different times just asking questions about what the process is like if I wanted to pursue this process with direct printing, and you know, how would it work if I wanted to just send my cut Playfield and just have them do the print and the artwork. And I just got like no response after that. But I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt that they were busy, so you know, if I have to do another Playfield, then I'll reach out and try again. Lonnie Min. H is silent, double I's. On the Facebook group, supposedly does Playfield print as well. Okay. Good to know, good to know. So this, I could also get my optos in place. Okay, so on that side, this attaches this way. But I don't want to attach that yet. Because I need to weld the nut onto the bracket. So that'll have to come later. But at the very least, I can get this finished off with the opto and what I was going to do on this end with the bearing stuff. I just had like this kind of idler bearing on here. I think it's an idler pulley, but I just have that on there just to keep that from derailing. What I really need to do is design this with like a spring tension mechanism to keep tension on that belt, but we'll see how it works first. Okay, so that is up here. And that uses which? 9219A753. 9219-6A753. That is this one. So I also probably need to buy some thrust bearings for this end because this needs to be able to turn more easily, and that idler also needs to be able to turn more easily. Let's see. That one, let's try this one. There we go. Just get the thread started in that end. I don't blame you, Board. If I do another homebrew after this, we'll see. We'll see how complex I want to make it. This is a ton of complexity that's... Yeah. I may have went a little overboard for my first one, but I'm excited to see the results. I think I'm gonna do the Optos, which I think I have those. Those should be the 816Z. Yep. Let me go find two of those. So these came from, I believe I got these on Pinball Life. I'm pretty sure I did. And they're the JJP assemblies, which has a harness on it already, which is very convenient. Worth the extra money in my opinion, because it's less connectors I gotta build. Okay, so let's see, on this one, do this end. So I just want to loosen that so that, and that is in. And then I have a little channel in there for the wires. Okay, now through the other side. I just want to get these in place before this block gets tightened in place, because I have those channels in there for the wires. to pass through. Okay. I forget what size that is and which nut it needs. What's the baggie of those? Let's say M5? $540. $540, not that. $440, M3. Put it up there. Seeing it. Let's figure out where the nut is for that one. And then I can those can all go there. I'm done with those. Where did the thing? Okay, so that is M3. So actually, need a nut. Yeah, I feel like I need a couple thrust bearings on here. Is that M3? Second row. The roller bag. That's not M3, that's 540. Mixing and matching metric and imperial machine screws. Also not the brightest engineering. Okay. Put a hole in it. What the heck, TV? Just changed the source on me. I must have hit a button. It's my chat monitor. Come on. Load. Here we go. Get that one loose in place. 540 stuff can go back in their bag. The M3 stuff can go back in their bag. Done with that. Okay. That is that end. I don't remember what size nut I need for this one. 440. I need the screws to get the opto on that block. Let's get the opto on the other block too. So these optos are my limit switches, essentially, for the travel of the mag rail. You really only need, if I recall, just a homing switch for steppers, but I want to know when it reaches the other end because I have a mode that I'm going to build out where you're actually trying to walk the ball up the mag rail and get it to the other end. So like it's like you're in a wand battle and you're pushing the spell back and forth. That's the concept. So you're trying to win the duel by getting the ball to the other end, and then when you get to the other end, then I can play a show and do something with the ball. Come on, wire, what you doing? Okay. So that needs to go in there. Then I need to find my 440. I think that's what I need, 440. Yeah, should be it. I got 440 screws with thread cutting. And then make sure I put this in the right direction on the other end. So gonna go like that. My orientation is correct. Then I need, I think I'll have a small enough driver for that. If I had a small enough nut driver, that would make this much easier. I'm gonna get this started in that hole. Not the most fun. Okay. And we'll do the other one. Those threads cutting. And if I had a small enough nut driver, that would be much more ideal. Okay. Everyone needs more. Yeah. That one is on there. So I can actually get this one in place. Okay. The other one I should get screwed on. This is going to be a pain in the butt. How do I do this? This way. So these were just 3D printed blocks. And then I've got some self-tapping machine screws. Makes it easy. Okay. Both of those are in. So really all that's left on this is just the carrier, which I need to weld the magnet on. The bolt for this pulley here, or the nut for it, and then I should get some thrust bearings to put underneath these, or a thrust, just a nylon thrust washer would probably do it fine. They spin all right, but okay. Put this away. So I could, in theory, put this on the playfield, but I'm inclined to think I should wait because I need this first to have the nut welded to it. Yeah. And then once I have the nut welded to that, then I can attach that to this rail. I can attach the other rail, and then the whole unit can go in place as one. But it should. Yep. Slide right in where the octo is down there. Perfect. There you have it. Okay. So that was assembling the mag rail as far as I could. This will be cool though once it's all together and I can actually mount it to the playfield. That'll be sweet. And let's hope it all works, huh? It should. Yeah. Do I actually want to start attaching more stuff to the playfield? Halfway I do. The other half of me wants to do the GoDot part that I was going to do, so I'm thinking I'll probably do that. Let's close the mag rail file. Actually, I can probably get away with closing Fusion. Because if I'm not going to be doing any more assembly, I don't need to reference it. So let's do that. And then once that closes, what scene do I want? This one? Hey, look at that. Alright. I should be done with my phone camera, so I'm gonna exit the app on that so it doesn't burn up the battery. Okay. Disconnect. Ba-doo. Alright. So I'll show what I have done with the attract mode so far. Yeah. So I'll show what the product looks like and then come back in and show the actual files and how it all works. Gotta wait for it to close the other part of it. Come on. There it goes. Don't need the volume mixer. Where's my mouse? Okay. Alright, so there's the screens. And then we'll just start up MPF here. Just in the terminal. So you see it's connected to MPF, and now it should load. Let me pause the music. So you see both screens. Should be able to see everything. I think I set the scene up correctly. You should be able to hear the audio. The animations are... Oh, thank you. The animations are cool in Godot. You can do a lot with it. You can like set the easing in and out so it's not like an abrupt stop. All that's adjustable in the user interface here. So that's the full loop of the slides. The screen on the right is the main monitor, and that will set in behind the castle, and it'll be a animated backdrop for the castle. And then what I'm going to do is build the scores at the top of the screen, because the bottom's going to be partially obstructed by like the castle and some of the other shots. And then the other little screen is what displays into the prophecy orb, which I closed my phone camera, otherwise I would show you, but it's the projector orb. So in what is it? I think it's the fifth book, is when they're trying to find the prophecy orb at the ministry. Order of the Phoenix, I think that's the one. So I actually have the stand, the base of that prophecy orb is 3D printed with like the dragons, and then I have a plastic snow globe with a frosted interior, and then behind it, under the playfield, will be a Pico projector, and that projects that other little screen on the inside of it. So the swirling smoke is supposed to represent like what it looks like physically in the movie. You have almost like a fog inside the prophecy orb that's swirling around, so that's what that is. And then during attract mode, it's just, for now, just loops through this text. But the point of that whole prophecy orb is going to be your mode timer. Certain moments I'll display, like maybe a Voldemort clip from the movies or something. But that'll be the purpose of that. So, how this all works, put the music back on. Let's go back into the editor. I'll be using P3 boards. I've been reading MPF.8 and GoDot stuff while watching. I think I'll jump to that for my latest project, Descent Pinball. Descent, ooh. Curious to know more about what that theme is. My others are alphanumeric with chimes, so don't need the fancy stuff. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so within MPF, my attract mode just looks like this. So there's my sound player. The looping I had to figure out does not work. Oh, okay. I have not heard of that one. I'm not like the biggest video gamer. Like, I played a ton of Xbox and Nintendo 64 and GameCube and all that stuff growing up, but I don't know. Oh, and Sega Genesis, duh. But only the games that I had, only the games that our parents bought us, so not familiar with the whole library of stuff out there. So I was messing around with the loops setting and some of the other settings from sounds and MPF-GMC. There's only certain stuff that's programmed to date within there. And what I wanted was that intro audio to loop. So I'll talk about how I figured that out later, but I left this in here as a comment for myself. You can do the fade in and fade out. There's good documentation on the site. Ooh, let me set up, hold on. I'm gonna put one more source in the scene. That is my browser. I'll just do a window capture and make sure that's up. We'll do Chrome. Okay, there's Chrome. Capture cursor. Cool. Make it tinier. That way, as I'm going back and forth between the MPF documentation and this, it's visible. And now I gotta put that in the correct layer here. Keep going. I want that to come up over top of my editor. Cool. Yeah, so config reference, like bouncing back and forth between the instructions and the config reference, there's some slight inconsistencies, but more detail in some of the configs that help. So I definitely recommend checking those out. But the MPF sound asset, you can see what you can set essentially for your sound player stuff within MPF. So there's some good stuff in there to get you started, but at least when it came to what I was doing, so I just cue the music to the bus or music. Let's go to GoDot. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Could be butchering it, but pretty sure I'm right on that. So in Godot, so if you follow the instructions, the first thing you have to do is set up your window. There's a few things you have to set in your project settings as far as the plugins and the auto load, and then your run main scene, you set that to your window. That window TSCN window scene is part of the repository for the GMC stuff. So you can just navigate to that when you follow the instructions. The default one is, I'll go up a level to add-ons, MPF-GMC, slides. The default one is in here, and that works for one screen. But in my case, because I'm doing 2 screens, I had to create my own. So my default window, I just copied this one to my slides folder and then made some edits to it. Where's the top of this window? There it is. Oh, I need to. That is massive. That should be better. Oh, you can't see the window pop up either. Dumb. Okay. Hold please. We're gonna do the display capture so you can see the pop-up window. Okay. So in your project settings, if you follow the instructions on the MPF site, they're real detailed on how to set everything up. You have to set your plugin thing here. It walks you through how to do that. You have to set up the auto load thing here. Walks you through how to do that. Under your run, general application run, you set up your main scene. The Windows default one, or window default scene, exists, so I'll back this up. Add-ons, MPF-GMC. This is the folder that you copy over to your game directory from the repository, and then slides. So there's a few default included slides in here. You just set it to the window as your main one. I made a copy of that back in my own slides folder. Boop. Window. And then made some edits to it. I feel there was some more settings in here that you messed around with following those instructions. I think that was it in that area. And then, so if you use the default window, it includes these top however many nodes here. And then for my second display, originally following the instructions, this didn't work, but now it does. You add a default Godot window node here, and then you set some stuff over here on the right as far as making it full screen. You don't have to set the title. I just was messing around trying to get it to work. You set the size of it. Dealing with multiple screens, I've messed around with setting the current screen property to get it to go full screen on the correct screen. That works when I'm not in this crazy wide format on my monitor. If I'm in like the actual project resolution, that works. But right now I'm in my ultra wide so I can stream. So I had to do some fancy window captures for the stream to show stuff, but you set transient, unresizable, and borderless over here on the inspector panel. Anything that's not default, you see the little reset arrow next to it. So that's something good to keep in mind. So if you're trying to figure out what stuff you had to change, you can quickly look over there and see that. And then underneath that window, you create a child of type MPF display. So you do that, you can just right click, add child node. No, come on. Window. Let me grab you. There we go. So the whole node window pops up here, and you can just search MPF and see everything that's been created for it. It's the MPF display type, so you would just create that, and then you name it. So I named mine orb display. You set a startup slide, so it displays. You can if you want to. I set mine to be the same startup slide as the main screen that shows connected to MPF as it's starting up. You set that over here in the initial slide. So, and then you set the size of it. Position is 0, 0 because it's going to adopt the position within the window that it's a child of. So, yeah, that was the setup to get the window and my displays configured functioning on both screens. It's getting late here, so I'm going to exit stream, but may watch it out in a moment. Bye, or tot ziens in Dutch. I may have butchered that, but hey, thank you for stopping in, Renee. I appreciate you hanging out the whole time. Hopefully there was some good information, or me being not so entertaining. Either way, thanks for chilling. Yeah, so that was setting up the main window. And then underneath your root folder, you can have your slides in either your modes subfolders, or you can just have your own slides folder if you want to make it easy and keep all of your slides in one place. I think in my case, I'm going to keep my slides broken down by mode, just to keep that clean. But I think when it comes to sounds and video, I'm gonna keep these all in like the root subfolders here, and just name them based on the mode. So it's all in one place and it's a lot easier to search in one directory. So yeah, that was the setup for window. They also have you in the instructions go to your editor settings. Why does it keep popping up over there? That's so annoying. And then you go to the text editor, behaviors, and of course it reset. So this is the third time this has happened to me. Luckily I haven't saved anything, but you go through here and you, yeah, so there tabs to spaces, trim trailing white space on save, turn that on. You turn off convert indent on save. That's the big one, that's the big bugaboo, because I've had this do this to me, I don't know why, for like the third time now, where it resets my text editor settings, and I have no idea it does it, and then when I go to save, it converts all of my, converts everything to indents, and it's really annoying because it screws up the scripts that run the scenes and all the other custom script stuff. It screws all that up. So then you have to go back in and you have to go back into your Git folder and copy the add-ons back over to your game code folder add-ons and replace it to fix all of those scripts. So now let me go back here. Make sure that this is set up right. Oh, you also configure the audio buses. I saved this as like the default layout. So it'll be configured that way every time now, whenever I create a new project, which will be useful if I do another machine. Configure buses, attract mode, I'm in setup, installation. Download, install, cloning, keeping it up to date, activate. So yeah, here's the part where you go in and you activate the plugin, and then you set the auto load. Maybe it isn't set up. Set the main scene, set the window size. Did I skip over the text editor? Attract, run. Is that an installation? Where's that at in here? Download GoDot. Africa Dode. Where was it? Keeping up to date. Activate. This is new, I think. So that talks about corrupted stuff. Auto load. It must be in setup. I swear there was a section about the text editor. I mean, I know there was. I just can't find it. Wonder if it got removed or I just keep scrolling past it. Whatever. Set the main scene. Window size. Create a track, decorate, create a key map. Slides, scenes, files, and naming. Boop, 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 boop. Installing. Open the Enter Creator Project, select your MPF for most pinball machines. Add-ons. The distinct folder. Yeah, there's some new documentation in here, I think. Maybe. Well, let's hope I fixed my text editor settings the correct way. Find tab. It's not there. Plugins tab, autoload tab. Guides? I lost it. I don't know. It used to be in here somewhere, but there's a setting for the indent type and trim trailing spaces and auto load scripts on external change. That's supposed to change. So I'm just gonna set that back again. I don't know. Anyways, there's that rabbit hole. Okay. So yeah, my name of this display is Orb Display, so I target that in MPF by Orb Display. Same with main display. That all works there. So my attract mode slides. Modes, attract. So here's my main attract slide. All this is the video background of the floating candles that you saw. And that is set over here underneath the video stream player. So this is, so when you create a scene, you just do a create a new scene. Set the node type to MPF slide. Pick that, and then you name it. So in this case, I'm going to do my base one. Let me make sure my naming is the same here. Base. I'm just going to call this one base. Probably should do base slide just in case, so we'll do that. And then you can add your nodes underneath it. So I want like a let's just do a cloudy day. Find an image of that. Just as a placeholder. If it was liner. I liked when you could set, maybe you still can, set the resolution. Any aspect I want. See, this is stupid. Just let me set a custom size. Whatever. I don't want a road. Who wants a road in Hogwarts? Whatever. Just gonna save image. Of course, it's a web thing. There's a JPEG that'll work. Oh, desktop. MPF. Pin. I'm just gonna save it as sky. Whatever. Okay. And then I want. What do I want? Do I search for image? No 3D, no. Color picker. Is it just canvas? Whatever. We'll just create a canvas. Can I set a image to this? No. I don't even know what I'm doing. Label. Sprite. I think that's what I wanted. Texture, load, images. Still learning. Okay. Position. It's using the center of the image. And this is going to be 1920 by 1080. I'm not making this easy on myself. The road's mostly out of the picture. You can see like this blue border, purple border, maybe. That's the window size or the project size. Save scene. So yeah, my attract is just this slide with the video player in it. And then I set the stream as the floating candles video, set autoplay and check loop. So then when I call that from MPF, my attract mode, right here, so my slide name is attract. My target is the main display. And then the attract orb is the same kind of thing. It's just a scene with a video in it, set to autoplay and loop. And then that targets the orb display. And then my main display loop goes through each of these different slides. So slide attract created triggers my attract Bassa logo. Target the main display, expires 12 seconds. And then I use when that expires, GMC will send a removed event for the Bassa logo removed. I use that to then call the next slide. Same thing, expiration all the way down to here until the last one is removed, and that just pulls back up the Bassa logo, the first slide. And then this first slide attract created only is called once when attract mode starts, because that's when that happens up here. So first time it'll call the Bassa logo using the created event, then it goes through the sequence, then this down here gets it all the way back up to the top here. And it'll just keep cycling through like that. Orb display, same thing. I use the attract orbs, the main video slide, the video background. I use the created event for that to call my text. And then as each of those different text slides are removed, they call each other. And then after the third one, pull the first text back up again. Show player, I messed around with using, like, creating a show to cycle through the slides. That created more problems, so this is just way more simple. So that's what my mode config looks like for attract. And then all of my slides, my audio, all of that stuff is over in GoDot. So in GoDot, like I said, here's the main attract slide. The name of it is set here as attract. The next one that it pulls up is the Bassa logo. So let's open that. It takes a second to open because it's got a ping sequence in it. So this one, again, the root node is MPF slide type. Animated sprite, this is my ping image sequence. you can preview that here. So let me get this centered again. So you can just preview that whole image sequence. You can alter the frame rate on how fast you want it to do its thing. And I think you should be able to bake this animation so it's less resource intensive somewhere, but I don't need to solve that right now. So yeah, that's what pops up. That's a transparent image sequence, so it has a transparency layer that displays correctly over the video of the candles in the previous slide. And then if you want to do animations of it entering and exiting, that's where you add this. So you just, on your root node, add a child node, set the resource, or set the node type as animation player, and then on your main root node, you go over here, you select, or you assign the animation player, and then down here on the animation player, you build your animations. So you can have different presets down here. I created these two, the created and removed. So for the created, all it is I insert the keyframe for the alpha channel on the main slide. So if I hit play, you see that come in. So to do that, you just select your whatever you want to do a keyframe for. So let's say here I wanted to set the position. So, and I want to set the position of the actual animated sprite. So I want to animate the movement of that in and out. Can I do that with the animated sprite? Yes. Okay. So down here, make sure you set your marker at the end of the animation. You can adjust the duration over here on the right side. So I'll just reset that back to 1. So at the end, I want my position to be where it's at. So I'll just hit this little key symbol. Hopefully can you see that? Yeah. So click the key, create. So you see down here, it created a keyframe. And then let's roll the marker back to 0. And I'm gonna put the position, let's say it's at 12.8 or 7.20. Nope, I want it to come from the bottom up. Hold on. Let's do this at 1280. So now, you see it's way down there. That's off the screen for the most part. You can see this purple line run across. That's my limits. So I want it to start from down there. So remember, my markers rolled back to the beginning. Set the keyframe. And now if I animate, it should fade in. So it's doing this modulation on the alpha channel here. And then it's going to animate the position. So like that. So now whenever I, in MPF, call the Attract Bassa logo using this event, GMC will generate a created event that communicates to GoDot and runs this created animation as long as it's named created. You can do created, active, inactive, and removed. There's a little bit of funkiness between which calls when and priority and all that stuff. But for my purposes, the created one and the removed one work. So yeah, that would play this animation whenever I call this slide. And then same for removed. I just have it modulate the transparency. So this one is the whole slide that I'm doing the transparency on. So I just did that up here. You click in your Explorer up there, click your root slide, and then under, I think it was visibility, modulate, change the alpha layer, and then you just click the keyframe for whatever you want that value to be. Pretty straightforward. You can add a whole ton of different animations to things in here. And then, so let me close this one and not save it. You can get into like a more advanced one, which would be, let's open this one. So my animations for this, on my created, for my animated sprite, which is actually just, I think, a 2D sprite. Yeah, I changed the type after the fact, but it kept the name. Let me just rename that so it's not confusing. So this is just that image of the logo for the game. And I am animating on the slide level the alpha transparency. And then on the actual sprite or the image, I am animating its scale and position. So if I play this, you can see it grow bigger and sweep in. And it does like that fancy kind of like snake-like pattern because there's a bunch of different settings in here. So this one is a 2-second animation over here on my right. And then you can adjust the interpolation mode to cubic instead of linear, which I like the feel of cubic. It's less like static or predictable. I don't know what word I'm looking for there. But you can see how it just kind of like, after the initial easing in and easing out, it just kind of creeps. Where if I change these back to cubic, you can see it has a little bit more like fluidity to it. So I like that. And then you can mess with settings on each keyframe. So these ones are, they show a little square instead of the typical diamond because I've messed with them. But so you can set the easing for each keyframe over here in your inspector. So if you right click, you can do linear, which is default. So let me change these back to linear so you can see what this looks like without easing. So it's just pretty straightforward. It doesn't have as much like snake-like movement. It doesn't ease in and out as much. But now if I change, let's just change these to ease in on the first keyframes, just so you can see that. So a little bit different. And then ease out. There's all kinds of different ones you can try. The ease in to out, the ease out to in. You can see the curve that it puts in place for that. And just preview each of those. So it's very configurable, which is awesome. Then my removed, same thing. I just have it kind of float up and out as it fades out. Nothing too complex. So those are my animations for this slide. So every one of these slides, I have a created and removed animation. And they're all called from my attract mode, so they're all treated with the same priority from MPF, I believe. Yeah, I don't have any overrides here. So I was messing with priorities for a while there too, trying to get the animations to work between inactive and removed. That ended up being a bug that was fixed really quickly by Anthony Van Winkle, which was awesome. Another reason why I'm just going to go with using Godot because it's being actively developed and supported, even though it's not like their day job. This is all in their free time, so I would much rather be ahead of the curve and try to future-proof myself, because MPF-MC had some complications as far as what I was trying to do with like videos with alpha channel and stuff like that. But either way, big fan of having a GUI for building this out. So let's go back here. All my different attract slides, so like I have the one for free play, and this is just a label. So this is the label here. There's settings over on the right, again in your inspector panel. So you type the text you want to display. You can do your alignment for center, and let's just put that center. And then down here in layout, under transform, that's where you set like the position, and you can do scale and all that stuff. And then you get into your theme overrides, and this is where you do the font color. So let's say I wanted to do a font color of like red, I could do that here. I don't have to like know the hex or RGB values and hard code that into MPF. I can just all do it through this, which is very handy. But I don't want to set the font color. On here I have a shadow and an outline. And then I have, you can set the offset for the shadow and the size of the outline. All kinds of stuff. And then you can get into actually loading in your fonts. So you just can do a new font file. Whoops. Load. And then I have a folder of fonts here. And I forget what I used on this. Parcel tongue. This looks interesting. It looks horrible. Hi from New York. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Just messing with Godot and trying to get really showing like what I've done so far. And then from there, I'm gonna build out a slide for my base mode, at least get started on that. Oh, sweet. I have yet to play John Wick. Where I'm at, there's not much for arcades. It's like probably a 40-minute drive for me to get to anything. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. This isn't, like, I'm no expert by any means. I'm just starting in Godot and learning all this and fumbling my way through, so none of this is fact or the right way to do things. It's just how I figured out how to do things. So yeah, you can do a lot of configurations. You can set the size of your font. I don't know what is here for styles. I'm not familiar with that. And then I have this animated. So on my created event, I set this to fade in. So it's my modulate on the slide alpha channel there. Yo, what's up, Mike? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to program another one, dude. This is a lot. I mean, I could, but this is definitely not my day job. So yeah, the it fades in the slide, and then I modulate the scale of the label to make it kind of pulse. And then that animation is 9 seconds. You see over here on the right. And then in my MPF, or the free play slide, I have that one expire after 9 seconds. So that pulses for 9 seconds, and then when the expire is called, it'll call the removed animation, which fades it out. And I also kind of do one last pulse. So, very handy building out animations and actually visualizing everything within this interface is very handy. Don't want to save that. I think everything else is very similar. This one took some configuring. So this is displaying my last game scores. And this is just kind of roughly a placeholder, but... So you have your... These are containers. You can have a horizontal or a vertical container. And what that does is it kind of aligns everything within the container. And you can set, I believe, if I remember, the alignment. Yeah. So right now it's set at begin, but if I do center, it does that. And then what's contained in this, I have the label that shows player 3. And then you have an MPF variable node. And then all you do is you select what type of variable, which there's some new ones in there since I was last using this. Okay, cool. And then player 3 score. So you set your variable stuff in here. You can have a default, so initialize empty. You can set that to be on. You can set the, I believe there's somewhere you can set like a default value. I just did that. I think I should have initialize empty set to off on all these. You can set the format string, which I thought I had in here. But I don't know the correct way to actually format it, so maybe not. Do I have to do like that? No. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. So yeah, each of these I have, so a horizontal container, and that puts together the player 1 label and then the score variable. And then I have 2 of those horizontal containers within a vertical container, so they stack up next to each other nicely side to side. And then you can set custom minimums for the size, so if you want to like mess with your spacing and everything to get it to look nice, you can set custom minimums. So this one I had it like custom of 200, but if I do 300, and there's that. So is this setup similar to like a paint or like software, and does this transfer straight to MPF? So your whole UI, your videos, your sounds, your pictures, your player variables, everything that would be on your screen during or through MPF-MC is now all contained within here. This just talks to MPF. So like your variables are passed through with this type of MPF variable. So as long as you have it named in your code, if this name matches, it'll pull that variable up. So they've done a really good job so far to this point getting that to work. And then in MPF, all you're doing, so this is a slide player, so I use this event. Here's the name of my slide, attract last game. So that matches up in here in Godot. Attract last game, so you just name that. And then as long as that name matches, action play. I set the target to main display, so earlier in this stream I went over how the window is configured and how you target the displays, and then an expire time of 11 seconds. You can pass that along to it. And then when that expires, it sends a remove call to Godot. You insert this into MPF, or does this run as well? It runs in tandem. So I'll just show you real quick. Let me quit and don't save. And hopefully nothing was corrupted when my text editor reset itself. Let me pause the music. Then hide my display capture. Oh, I was underneath that. Sorry. So now if I click run, or you can't see that. So on my display capture. Move this over here. Okay, so this is just the main window when you come into Godot. I have Hermes in here as well, so I could reference what he was doing a little bit. That was useful, trying to figure some stuff out, like sound player and how that works. But yeah, so you just select the project, run, and then you can see my screens pop up there. Let's go back here. What's supposed to be showing right now? That? Yeah, that. And then over in my command prompt, if I just type MPF, I'll just do XT, so this is in the terminal. So you see the screens update with connected to MPF. It's just communicating back and forth between Godot, which is the game engine. And there's my attract slides. And you can see in the command there the events that are being sent. So you have the slide created and slide removed events, the active and inactive. So when a slide is removed, anything that's underneath becomes active. Or if a new slide comes in as higher priority, that becomes active. You can use those events to trigger things within MPF, which is what I do. So the code that you're looking at on the screen there, I'm just using the slide removed event to trigger the next slide within a slide player. And I'm setting which display I want it to call to. So, yeah, very handy. Like, it's really useful that they're building this integration in with MPF. Because at one point I was thinking with some of the level of animations and stuff I want to do that I was going to do like the whole, I think there's like the Unreal BCP or Backbox Protocol, whatever that is. Yeah, BCP. So I was looking, or Unity. Yeah, whatever. I was looking at that, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to really dive into that, but now learning that this GMC is being actively developed and integrated into MPF as a means to replace the normal MC, I'm just gonna learn it and run with it, and so far I'm really liking the visual interface. So you can see on the screens there, like the animations I was talking about playing. So the created right now is playing like that pulsing free play, or on this one, the created is, it pulls up that animated sprite for the logo, and it plays that at the frame rate I had set. And now when it gets called to remove, there's the remove event that fades it out. So, all pretty good. There's like a little, maybe a little bit of glitchiness with some of the animations playing. I see some screen flicker there. I imagine that will get better over time, but right now I think it looks great. And then in person, like when you see that the swirling smoke actually being projected on the inside of the prophecy orb, man, that looks cool. It's really hard to capture on camera because the projector and the frame rate with your camera and it flickers weird, but in person visually to the human eye it's really cool. Thanks. Yeah, I've had that logo for a while and I've used it in streaming, but it took me a while to figure out, because in streaming I just use a WebM file, which is a video that includes transparency. MPF-GMC didn't support that file format, and I couldn't figure out how to get GoDot to do it either. GoDot was very restricted on which file formats. It's only like .ogv videos or .ogg audio or MP3 or wave audio. Like those are the only three audio, I think, that formats that are supported, and I think there's OGV and like one other video format that's supported. So none of those video formats support an alpha layer. So I ended up doing a ping image sequence of my logo at 60 FPS, and then that is an animated sprite within Godot that auto plays on load. And that works great for the transparency. So I'll use the same kind of concept with, like, if I want to do some really custom animations with like green fire that envelops the screen, I'll do the same thing. It'll be a ping sequence and then a animated sprite. Yeah, so the format of my game is very custom. Like, I don't have a back box. For mine, I'm putting a 27-inch monitor behind the playfield to animate the background. So you'll have, like, in the foreground, a 3D sculpt of Hogwarts Castle and the Quidditch pitch. And then in the background, you'll have, like, the daytime or nighttime. I want to do a daytime-nighttime cycle because you'll get detention if you get caught at nighttime and hit a professor shot or stuff like that. That's going to play into the modes. But I also want to, like, animate that daytime-nighttime with, like, actual, like, cloud movement, or someone flies by on a broom or stuff like that. So that's going to be cool once I get that done. But it's going to take a long time of creating the visuals and the audio and coding. So I don't know how long it's going to take. Forever. But thank you. Yeah, the candles, that was just some stock video I found somewhere. Maybe it was on Shutterstock, I can't remember. So that serves its purpose good enough. Will it end up being the final attract video background? Maybe, maybe not. I thought about making that kind of like animated and stars in the night sky and stuff, because remember, it's still going to be a background to the Hogwarts silhouette. So when you walk up to the game, the playfield's going to be dark, but the screen will be lit behind it, showing like that night sky. And then when you press the start button, you know, the classic, as they're going across the water in the boats to the castle, that song that is so iconic, that's going to play when you press the start button. And then across the playfield, it's going to slowly light up all the way up to the castle, and then the castle's just going to like catch on fire and sparkle with the windows lit and stuff like that. So my goal is to create moments. That's the ultimate goal. Yep, I'm with you. Lots of potential, and I don't want to fall short with, you know, this theme. There's a lot of potential. So I got to create as many moments that pull you in as as I can. Okay, gonna exit out of this. Whoops. Okay. Back at it. Display capture. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Hopefully I kind of describe what I'm going for. I mean, that's the first big moment when you step up to the game and you press start. That's one thing that I really love about Guns N' Roses when it's been sitting for a while and you go start a new game. There's this whole like 20-30 second intro of them getting called to the stage and the lights just going crazy with like a spotlight searching for, like, I love that moment when you step up to the game. It sets the bar. So that's what I want to do. Okay. Yeah, so in GoDot, let's go back to the editor and get this back to normal size. Let's see if it reset my settings again. Okay, it's stuck for now. It's stuck for now. That's one thing I'll have to post in the Google group about why this resets my text editor settings sometimes. It seems to be when there's like a debug issue with the code or something. Lots of great talented people in the homebrew space making some awesome stuff. Okay. So, I kind of want to try to build my base slide. I don't know about this picture, to be honest. But let's go back here. Base slide. We're going to walk through a tutorial together. In your MPF config for your base mode, set the following. Mode, base started, base. Pretty sure I already did that. Boop, boop, boop. Mode, base started, base. Target main display. Let me make sure I named that slide base. I don't think I did. So I wonder if I just change the name there, if that'll call the slide. Or do I have to actually save the name of the scene as base? I think this will work. Let's test it. Quit to project. I could run it from the editor, but I found that if I run it from the editor, that's when the script pops up a debug thing, and that's when it seems to reset my text editor settings. But if I just run it from the project launcher, there we go, display capture off, and then go back here, MPF-XT, and let it load. Okay, so now should be able to use my keybinds that I set up. So start. Okay, so my base mode should be active, but the base slide did not pop up. Okay. Control C. So that tells me I need to go back into desktop, MPF, and then modes. I think I created that in the wrong folder anyways. Yeah, base slide. We're gonna cut that, and then we're gonna go back up to base. Create a folder. slides. Boop. Paste that in there. And then I'm going to delete base from it. Or delete slide from the name. Okay. Now let's try this again. Well, let's open editor first, because I think that's going to probably give me an issue since I move stuff around. Just got to reload that in there. Can't open because it was moved or deleted. Fine by me. I don't want to open it from there. Okay. Well, there that is. So now I changed the name of the file itself to base, not just the name of the node. So let's quit. Run it. And then I'm just going to run MPF normal this time. I would have my MPF monitor up, but I don't have screen space right now. Okay. So start. There's my base slide. Look at that. Magic. It did it. Can I hit escape in here? Nope. Yeah. That was the one nice thing about MPF-MC is when it was open, you could just hit escape or close it, I think. But I gotta go back over here and close it. Anyways, so there's that. This will trigger the slide with a file name. Yep. A file name. I guess I could have read that. Create a base slide in the modes base folder of your project. Create a slides folder. Create a new scene. Set the root type to MPF slide. We did that earlier. Save the file as base. Done. Open the slide in the editor. Add a node type of sprite 2D. Name this node background. Did you add the equalizer yet? No. I set the sound settings. Oh, see, that was over my head. But I did set my buses up. The wheels on the bus go round and round. Okay. So, open the slide, add a sprite 2D, name this node background in the inspector panel. Under texture, can't speak. Quick load, add an image, I did that. Drag the corners of the image of the node until it fills dimensions of the slide. Did that. I'll name it background though, just so we're following the toot. Background. Did it. Add a score. Add a new node type of MPF variable. Name it score. Select my root node. Add a child. Type MPF. It's not under my recents anymore. MPF variable. Create. And then, what was I naming it? Name it score. Add corners until it fills the full width of the slide. Okay. Score. So I can drag the corners to do this, but because my project setting is the combined width of my screens, the snap isn't as friendly. Like I have the grid snap on. If I turn grid off, it'll like latch it, I believe, to the image. Yeah, there. But my image isn't the right size, so I'm just gonna come down here to layout, transform, or no, yeah, transform size 1920 is pixel width of my screen. So there's my actual screen width. Okay. Until it's full. We'll move it down to the middle. In the label text, enter 1 million. Drag it down to the middle. No, like, where's my middle snap? I feel like it'll center it on the image. So here's something that I found useful. Reference rectangle. And then you can set the size of it to 1920 by 1080. So there's the size of my screen. Editor only checkbox is on by default. So you can see the visual size of your screen, which is handy. So now if I want to like resize this, I can size it to that reference rectangle instead of like manually typing stuff. So that's handy. And then I should be able to drag, nope. Should be able to drag the, nope. Hold on, let me relayer it. There we go. And then will this snap to the center? It'll snap to the top, but it won't snap in the center. Whatever. So here's the other way I can do this the only way I've really found out how. So I know the size of this text box is 220. Position, so I know it's a 1080 monitor. You can do equations and calculate in here, so I'll do divided by 2. I don't want the X, stupid. 1080 divided by 2. Okay, so that puts, see this little plus sign, that's the anchor point of that. So that puts that at the halfway point. So now I can do 540 minus the height of my box is 220. So I could type 220 divided by 2, but that's easy math. So I'll just do minus 110. So now I know that is perfectly centered in my screen. And then I can come back up here, set my vertical alignment to center and horizontal to center. I'll type 1 million in there per the instructions. And then I'm sure the instructions is going to do this next. So we're going to go to theme, font size, set that to 100. Wow, look at that score. Grand Champ. And I'm going to throw a fancy font on here. So I can select font, go to load. I have a fonts folder in here. So if you have TrueType font files, we'll make this Beetle and the Bard. It does not appear to like that font. Okay. We're going with, have you seen this wizard? There we go. Ta-da. Alright, so I did those. Let's go back to the instructions. Oh look, horizontal alignment center, theme, font sizes, did that. Under colors, enable font outline color. Under constants, outline size. You can set custom font. Alright, so let's do that. Let's throw an outline on there. Colors, font outline. We're gonna make it green. A dark green. Sure. Yeah, that works. And then constants, we're gonna set the size of that. Outline size. We'll set it to like 5 pixels. Yeah. Look at that. It pops. Outlines are fun. Let's throw a shadow. And then we're going to set the shadow offset to 3 pixels X and 2 pixels Y. Now it pops even more. Magic. can set a shadow outline. Oh, it's the width of the shadow itself. So if I like blew this up to like 10 pixels, you can see that. We'll do 5. Yeah, look at that score pop. All right. You should now see 1 million large in the middle of the slide. Go to the top inspector panel and set the following values. Variable type, current player, variable name, score, comma separate, enabled. Okay. So we're on the variable node here. We're going to scroll back up. Current player, variable name, score, and allow comma separation, minimum digits. Whoa, not negative. Whoa, Nelly, not negative. There. And then I don't want it to initialize empty. Oh, you can set, what are these? Huh. Min-max players. You can set the update event in here too. Really disconnecting this from the MPF, because then you wouldn't need variable player, right? Interesting. Okay. You can now play the project, start MPF, and start a game. You'll see 00 appear at the beginning, and as you press keyboard inputs to score points, the score will update automatically. Neat! Let's do that. So let's save the slide. Shipmaster, welcome. Hope you're not a bot. Don't want to buy subs, but thanks for following if you're not a bot. Alright. So we're centered. Save the scene. We'll quit to project list. Run it. Fire up the old MPF again. Let it load the stuffs. There we go. So now if I hit start to start my game, we should see that slide. My sound will probably keep playing because I don't have event in there to stop it yet in MPF. And I don't have, some of these slides will still show, but here we go. Let me set focus on this. There we go. There we go. There's our slide. Let's launch the ball. Qualify. Nope. Lunge. Thought I had my keyboard bind set up. Maybe not. Oh, there's the score. Ba-bam! Alright, my / doesn't work in the keyboard mapping, so I'll have to fix that. Maybe it's just a slash. I put single quotes around it. But yeah, look at that score going up. We're playing a game. Okay, let's exit. So, let's go back into the editor. Let's recenter this. Nope. Oh wait, display. Has that been missing this entire time? Whoops. Maybe it was there. But now, because my GoDot is a different window name. Properties, window title. Otherwise, find window of same type. There. Okay. So, the other thing I wanted to mess with. Can I minimize that? There we go. Now you see the code. So let's go back to here under my GMC config. That's where my keyboard stuff is. So Let's just try / without the single quotes. Harry does not eat the ball, but money's money, so do anything for money. So plunge was L. Okay, that's right. Qualify, switch in lane right was, I hit Q, so that should have qualified and scored points. Or maybe I don't have points set up on Q. That could be it. Either way. So we'll save the config. Close that. Let's see in my base mode. Do I have any points in here? For Q, I don't think I do. Switch left flipper, right flipper. Yeah. So these were like the old instructions. Definitely gotta leave some space for the modders. I especially want a hairy head in the middle of the playfield, and then his jaw opens up like Rudy, and then eats the ball. I think that's the way to go. Okay. Okay, so that's why I wasn't seeing a score for that. But here, my first shot, switch in lane right, which should be my Q. My first, I don't know. My first profile, that's that. Unlit hit, should have been some points, whatever. So that's a good question. So the initial thoughts in my mind is it had to be a wand, like the right. So I have two plungers. I have a right and a left. The right had to be a wand because I'm dominant right-handed and I want to hold a wand when I step up to the machine. And then I had some change of thought that it was going to be like the whole right lane is kind of like your entrance into the world of Hogwarts, which would be like platform 9 3/4 area. So maybe I could make the Hogwarts Express as the plunger, or like the shopping cart that has the luggage on it, but that's kind of stupid and clunky. The left plunger, however, because of how I had the change of thought and stuff like that, the wand is now on the left side, which is a little weird, but that'll be for actual battles, wand battles and stuff like that. So it is what it is. I don't know what it's going to be on the right yet. Could be a gun. Probably a gun. Yeah. Don't ban me, YouTube. I'm not putting a gun on the machine. Okay. So that's why I wasn't seeing points for the U button. Okay. So we're good there. Now, over here, mode, attract, will stop. I need to put some stuff in here. So my audio. I think this will work the way I think. Action stop? Oh, we'll find out. So that should stop the audio. And then this kills those slides, I think. But so these expire. Thinking through. So I guess I'll just put a stop event in here for all of these. And C, stop. I thought it would unload them because attract mode is stopping, but maybe not. Okay. So mission pinball. We'll stop that one. My syntax could be wrong here. I'm still new. Mike, thanks for hanging. Appreciate you chilling. We will catch you later. Mission pinball, last game. So I'm just gonna call a stop for each of the slides that could have potentially been playing. Alternatively, like I could, when I call these, instead of targeting the display, I could do target the slide as attract, and then maybe that all would despawn just underneath removing the attract slide. Let me make sure my syntax is right. Maybe this is not slide. Slides. Slide player. Slide player. Action. Remove. Not stop. Remove. Tell me you're new at MPF without telling me you're new at MPF. Remove. Okay. So we've got HP Pinball, Mission Pinball, last game, free play, and then the Bassa logo. Remove, and then the Bassa logo. Remove. There's probably a much better way to do this. Either way. So that should remove any of those slides that were over top. And then here. See, it clears out the text that I haven't. There's got to be a way you can set like a default in here for that variable, or you can set it in MPF, I suppose, default value that way. But okay, back to this. Okay, you got the neat part. Add a ball number. Add another MPF variable node, name it ball, position it in the upper left corner, and then we're going to set the value. Okay. Add a new variable, MPF variable, create, name it ball, in the upper left corner, that's fine. And then we are going to do variable type, current player, it's already set to that, variable name ball, template string, I'm assuming with the quotes. Ball, template string, text, ball 1. Okay. And then let's continue here. Rather than saying the font details for this variable explicitly, we will create a theme that can be reused throughout the project. In the inspector panel, under theme, click drop down says empty, select new theme. Under theme, click new theme. Theme icon will appear in the dropdown. Click it again to open the theme editor at the bottom of the screen. New theme? Click it again. There we go. Okay. On the right side of the theme editor, next to type, click the plus and add a label type. Add a label type. Add type. Okay. The font tab will open. Click the plus icon to enable a theme font and then click on empty quick load. So we're going to load a font and then we're going to do next tab is font size. We're going to set to 40 pixels. Okay. There's my font. Oh, over on the right. Gotcha. Load fonts. Let's do Magic Owl. We're going to set 40 as the size. Okay. At the top of the theme editor, select Save As. Save the theme in your fonts folder. Save in your fonts folder. Let's call this, I don't know, Owl theme. Theme's easy enough. Mike Tyson. Okay. We saved as and save theme in your fonts folder or theme folder you prefer with the name of the font style. Okay, in the inspector panel you should see your ball number label now has the theme of whatever I named it. Okay. This now has the theme, or it should be over here. Okay. Theme, owl theme. Okay. Easy enough. Add a player number. Create another MPF variable like above, name it player. Set the variable name to number. MPF variable, create player. We're gonna reparent this. Okay. And then we're gonna type in number. Current player number, template string. Player set variable name number. Then click the theme. Okay, and quick load to select the theme we just created. Then we're setting the properties. Okay. Theme. Select quick load. There we go. There's our theme. And then we're going to go back up and set some values. So there's our template string. Minimum players 2. Current player number, correct. Label text player 1. Just kind of drag that there. Note, there are 2 extra spaces after the %s in the template string. This is to create some extra space between the player and ball text that only appears when the player text does. Add them in player's value means this player text will only appear in a multiplayer game. Okay. Dynamic variable positioning with containers. When these variables appear on screen, we want them to be left aligned and the player number to be first, if present. So we can use Godot's built-in layout tools automatically to position them in the scene panel. Create a new node type of HBox container, which is a container that will lay its children from left to right. Yep, drag corners so it starts in the upper left corner and is tall enough and wide enough to cover the player and ball text. Yep, and then I'm going to reparent those. Okay. Player and ball. Ball. And then we're going to do a HBox container. Create. And we're going to do player. And then ball. Okay. I want to throw some extra faces in there, eh? No? Should I not have quotations? No? Maybe it will space itself later. Or, alternatively, I can try messing with this and set a minimum size of, I don't know, 500 pixels? That's going to be really wide. Well, bam. Too wide. 100. Whoa, not 1000. Let's do 150. Okay. And then we're gonna move this container around a little bit. No, let me move the container. So annoying. Okay. Player 1, ball 1. Bam. I did a thing. Then we're going to save the scene. Ball node a second below, and that's it. You can start the project, run MPF. Ball number will appear initially in the upper left corner, and when another player is added, the player number will appear there, and the ball number will shift to the right. I want my player number to be there all the time, so I'm going to drop minimum players back down to 1. Okay. So let's quit and run. And then we're going to do MPF-X. Let that load. Get my code back up here, I suppose. Okay. Game is working. Let's start our base mode and see if the slides disappear and the music stops. And the new slide appears. Okay. So my format maybe shouldn't have the quotations. So that's good to know. And then launch the ball. Qualify. My / still doesn't work for the right flipper button, which is fine. There's my score with my decimal, or my comma separator. Cool. Alright. So I thought that, first of all, hide you. So that worked for the slides. So mode attract will stop. Mode attract will stop. So that event should have called action stop. Am I not stopping the audio correctly? Could be. Action stop. Action stop. Attract headwood loop. That's the same sound. I don't know. That should have stopped it. Where are you? Game started. Tracked mode, stop modes, active mode, change mode, game started. I don't know, converted during string formatting. Slide, attract orb, inactive. Attract will stop. So that should have mode attract will stop. Should have stopped the audio loop. Thought. Well. Mode attract. Spelling is the same. Yes, yes. Attract headwood loop. Action stop. That should work, but maybe that shouldn't matter, but is there stuff in here regarding sound? Sound player. MPF sound asset. Is that in here? Stream bus fin start at max Q. I don't know. I don't know. Alright. I have been streaming for a while now, so. And my dog's got to use the restroom. You know, they're trained. They go on the toilet. Alright. So, I'm gonna call it there on the stream for today. Just because I got some other stuff I gotta do, gotta figure out dinner. But thank you for those of you who hung out and watched me fumble my way through this. I'll try to do some more as I'm getting stuff set up, but we walked through a tutorial together, and there's really great documentation out there on the MPF site for GMC, so recommend checking it out and playing around with it. It's definitely worthwhile if you're just getting started with a game. I don't know about converting a game to it. That's a whole lot of work, but anywho, thanks for chilling. I hope you all have a pleasant rest of your day and a great weekend, and I will see you on the next stream. So see ya.